All right, and we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. What is going on, everybody? We have a cool episode for y'all today. We have a guest joining us for the podcast. We have Mr. Pete Moore. We're going to bring him onto the screen now,
Thank
and
you.
I'm
Good to
going
see
to
everybody.
I'm gonna let him introduce himself and tell y'all a little bit about himself to get started.
Yeah, so I've been working inside the fitness industry since 1999. I come from a little bit of an atypical background. I grew up in New York. I went to school down in the South. I was at Emory undergrad. Just to get this on the record, I was the 1993 intramural athlete of the year, six sport athlete. However, there was no Division One or two there, so that's my claim to fame. Um, I started working at a private investment firm that bought Gold's Gym International back in August of '99, and I kind of entered it from the more of the business side, investing side, unit economics of how a health club runs. And over the years, I've seen that the best health clubs are the ones that actually take their members on a journey and actually find out what their objectives are, what they want to achieve. And there's a lot of clubs that you could join as a beginner, and you see that they try and sign you up and they give you a fitness evaluation. And what I tell all my health club operators and fitness operators that I'm trying to get them to do, and you as a beginner should try and get them to actually take stock of, is you got to understand from their standpoint, they got to understand what your triggers are. They got to understand why you're there, what you're trying to achieve, if there's a milestone or a goal that you're shooting for, and then kind of back into and architect the workout plan and your behavior. And I'll give you some personal, you know, commentary on what I've gone through on my fitness journey as an executive and as a guy that works in mergers and acquisitions. I deal with a lot of stress. You can deal with stress a lot of different ways. You can completely unplug, which I've done. It creates a lot of loneliness. You can start eating a lot of Ben and Jerry's milk and cookies, mac and cheese. Um, you could get Fun Dip, which is basically sugar in a bag. Or the
Mm.
third alternative is you can start living what I call a halo lifestyle, and that stands for health, active lifestyle, outdoors. We're not trying to be part of the wellness movement. We're not trying to not get sick. We're trying to live the best version of ourselves. So I'm going to give you a little insight into what some of my triggers are, and then when you get into a club, let them know what your triggers are, so then they can kind of use that against you, to motivate
Mm.
you. So I love what you're doing. I listen to some of your podcasts. So, I'm happy to stop and pause, ask any questions, or I can take you on my journey and some of the things that, matter to me.
Yeah, the whole idea of the podcast is just to help people, get started or stay motivated and learn a little bit. So we don't go too into details when it comes to like the technical side of things. We just try to keep things, on a base level to get people started, to get people going, and try to motivate people. So I definitely like talking about people's personal journey when it comes to fitness because I think people can kind of relate better when you can kind of talk about your own journey because they can kind of relate to their own life. So yeah, let's do that. Let's dive a little bit more into
Yeah.
you and what got you into fitness.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a personal story. So I'm glad we're live here. So when I was 10 years old, my dad used to have this little change bin, and I was able to take all the quarters out of there. He's cool with that. And I lived in New York in a suburb. So the ice cream man would come around, basically like 6 days a week. And once I heard that jingle, I'd go and I'd grab some quarters and I'd go and run. I'd buy Fun Dip, candy cigarettes, Twizzlers, Skittles, and Big League Chew because I was playing baseball at the time. So I got the great Big League Chew.
Oh
And I
yeah.
would hide it under my bed in my radiator. And then before I went to sleep, I'd like eat as much of it as I could because I knew I could reload the next day. So as you can imagine, ages 11 and 12, like I was chubby Pete Moore, or I was like, they called me heavy. Okay. Well, I called myself heavy because I knew that like I never took my shirt off at like a swim, party or anything like that. And I was like stocky. And back in the day, and Murph, I don't know if you had this back down where you live, but there was a company called Sears,
Mm-hmm.
Sears, which was kind of like before Walmart came along or
Mm-hmm.
Kmart. Sears, you used to be able to go buy a washing machine there. You could buy clothes, you could buy microwave, and they had this one section. They had a sign up, and it said the Husky Department, Husky, and I was like, think about like being like 10, 11, 12 years old. You got to go shop at the Husky department with your mom. And, you had to buy elastic jeans that, because they were going to continue to expand and contract. You had to buy corduroy pants that had like little extenders on the side of them. And I was saying to my buddy the other day, there was no mental health awareness going on at the time. It was just like, let's call this thing what it is. It's a Husky kid, right? So I started playing soccer, and I realized when I started doing soccer tryouts that like you don't have to run if you're the goalie. So I'm like, dude, I'll be the goalie because I can't run anyway, right? Because I'm not fast like these other kids. So I ended up going and playing goalie, and I actually became good at goalie. And thankfully, I went to summer camp, and I basically started exercising all the time and eating better and leaning out. But I always remember in my mind that even at age 53, like Pete Moore does not want to go back to the Husky section, right? So that is like a trigger for me. So every time I get a personal trainer or every time I get somebody in group exercise that I work out with, I'm always telling them this story because I want them to know that they could use that story, Murph, against me and be like, hey, bro, are we going back to the department or are we going to start working out 3 or 4 days a week? And the thing about everybody's journey, and you had the 2 day rule is one of your podcasts recently that I saw. And it's like, you know what, if you could start to build in exercising 30 minutes a day, then 45 minutes, then 60 minutes. In the last 61 days, I've lost 20 pounds. I'm down from 205 down to I'm down from 225 to 205. I'm going down to 195 over the next 30 days. And what I've done is I've just created a lot of discipline for myself where I got a diet plan and this is what I'm going to eat. This is what I'm not going to eat. I go to cycling class at least once a day and I do TRX and I just do push-ups and sit-ups and I do some extension compression training with the TRX, bands. Very
Hmm.
simple. So, when you think about like how intense things need to be, the intensity level does not need to start at a 10 out of 10
Hmm.
when you start. All you got to do is just get your body into to feeling the energy and get your endorphins going. And once you get that thing rolling, it kind of almost like rolls itself because once you get stronger and you could do 5 push-ups, now you can do five. And literally it's just five, right? And then you could do 10. And now I'm doing 20. And now I'm going to the dumbbell section. I'm picking up 50-pound dumbbells, which I thought at my age, how strong your body is, even if you destroyed it and you kicked the shit out of it for years, right? It's going to bounce back. And I'm pleasantly surprised how quickly my body's bounced back for me. And I feel so much more confident. I can wear whatever shirt I want right now. I fit into shorts that I didn't fit into 62 days ago. So I would say, like, start your journey small and just keep expanding on that. And don't set goals for yourself that you can't hit because it's going to happen, but it's going to happen along that progression line.
Yeah, I like how you said you don't need to start at a 10 out of 10. And I agree 100% with that. I always say that you just need to do more than what you were doing yesterday. So, like, if you're not doing anything, like if you're starting from scratch, not going to the gym at all, not working out, like, don't say you're going to go to the gym 5, 6 days a week because let's be honest, like, you're probably not going to do that. And if you do it, it may be like for a month and then you're going to quit. So, I say just start with 1 day, start with 2 days, and then work your way up from there. Like you said, add progression over time.
Yeah, and also, the funny thing or like the upsetting thing is that health club operators come in and they say, "Why don't you do this challenge?" Okay, it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen this movie before, but like like you put a bunny in like boiling water, right? Like don't throw me as like a deconditioned individual, and I know that I wasn't in top form. Don't throw me into some kind of challenge. Like I'm not trying to get on the like American Ninja Warriors, and I'm not training for some Olympic event. So like, give me some goals and like, hey, look, I want to walk 10,000 steps a day. Okay. Anybody could do that. I don't care how big or little you are, right? You can walk 10,000 steps a day. And then next week you walk 10,000 steps a day. And you can have like a small incline on the stair, or you can lift, 2 pound weights. But you got to understand that once you start doing 2 pound weights, okay, your muscles, what they're doing, right? And Murph, you know this from a from a muscular, skeletal standpoint, The way you build muscle is you rip the muscle, right? When you rip the muscle, it repairs itself and it wants more, right? Because when the muscle rips and repairs, what it's really doing is it's apologizing to you. Okay. And it's basically saying the next time you lift this, I'll do it for you. Like I wasn't ready to do it before. I'll do it again. So when you see somebody with really ripped muscles or I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, bro. So when you see that, I've ripped this muscle so many times, right, by lifting and exerting it, that it's actually gotten me to the point where it's getting bigger because it wants to meet my needs going forward.
Mhm.
That's what muscle growth is. Basically, your body responding to the stress and atrophy you put on it. And now it's basically saying, yo, bro, bring it on. I can do this for you. Okay. I'm big and stronger now than I was before.
Yeah, most people think that you build muscle in the gym. That's not the case. You tear down the muscle in the gym, you rebuild it while you rest and recover.
Yeah.
That's the
And look,
key.
yeah, look, I mean, what are you really doing? If you think of muscle, think of your muscles like a plant, okay? You're basically ripping up your garden and then you're watering it, right? And you're feeding it, right? So if you're gonna feed your muscle, yeah, I read this book one time. It's like eat this, not that. I don't know, Murph, if you ever read that book, but
Mm-mm.
just give you simple things like you can eat a potato chip, right? Or you can eat like a piece of broccoli or celery, right? I could eat some ice cream, or I could eat some Greek yogurt. Like those micro decisions actually add up to changing everything, right? If I'm gonna go sit on the couch and spend 2 hours and eat a Ben and Jerry's pint, which has 4 servings, and bro, I don't know who does the servings, but I've never put that thing back in the freezer 3 times. I'm calling BS on that, dude. But I'm saying like, just think about like, hey, I could watch this, or maybe I could watch this Netflix thing and I could walk around the block, or I could go on a treadmill and just walk, right? And then you're gonna say, hey, can I run? And then you're gonna realize you can run. Okay, you're gonna realize that 2 pound weight. You know what, dude? I could actually do the 5 pound weight. So what you have to do is set goals for yourself that you're gonna hit. Don't be distracted or like frustrated with the process because the process is what it is. There's no shortcut to changing your body. But if you think about this, somebody said to me the other day, bro, they're like, what's the greatest invention of all time? Right. So I know the person was trying to goad me into being like, the iPhone or like, the supercomputer. Dude, the human body is the most amazing, exceptional piece of machinery and hardware that's ever been placed on this planet, dude. Like all you have to
Mhm.
do is put water and food in it and it grows. Okay, it's got a supercomputer on top of it, right? It has like a heart mechanism that's like doing the whole thing like Iron Man. And like everything you do for an action, there's a reaction, right? I do positive things for myself, my body looks better. I give back to the world. I say I help some woman cross the street, or I do somebody a favor, and then somebody does me a favor, and it comes back to you. Like
Mhm.
you're in this universe of like energy, and you have the ability to change it. And when I see somebody with a seatbelt extender, okay, I feel bad for them, okay, because I could have been that same person, waiting on the plane to like board in a wheelchair. That's a choice, dude. I know some people have like thyroid issues, but like 90% of the diseases that there are that the pharmaceutical industry tries to get you to take a pill for are solved in the gym. I don't take any pills, but I guarantee you, I never will, because if the body is not going to like react or respond to itself like it should, you don't have to like medicate it. That's not what how this thing's built. Thing's built on food and water. Okay, so build it and then treat it like the machine that it deserves to be treated like. And my last point on that, the thing that drives me crazy is someone who's driving like a beautiful car, okay? And then they get out of the car and they look terrible. It's like, why don't you treat yourself like the car, okay? And treat the car like you treat yourself. And you might actually get more awards and more praise for that.
Yeah, I like that analogy you use with the car because I've said it before on my podcast. A fit body, like a healthy body, is the only thing in the world like you cannot buy. You cannot pay for a
Exactly.
fit, healthy body, but pretty much anything else in the world you can pay for, but not that. So it's kind of like what what young people would call a flex. It's a flex to have a nice fit body, healthy body, especially as you get at a higher age as well. So I think that was a good point you brought up there. I like that.
Yeah. The one thing about strength training, before we get to the next thing, is like if you start lifting weights, your body responds to weight training even more than it does to cardio. So if you want to see results in the mirror and you got money to do like a Pilates class, or if you don't have money to do a Pilates class, go do a YouTube video and do the stretching online. And you'd be surprised how much body weight you could use to actually use as if it was a weight. But once you start seeing results in the mirror, your motivation, listen, if anybody's listening right now, and I want you to think about how good you're going to feel. I just dropped 20 pounds. Okay. So if anybody's at home right now, listen to this, and is in their little mini gym and picks up a 20-pound weight, okay, and just think about, I was carrying around an extra 20 pounds, and that's the exact amount of that dumbbell, right? You know how much better my body feels about like shedding that 20 pounds I don't have to walk
Hmm.
around with anymore?
Yeah, hands down, the best way to lose weight or even to build muscle is weightlifting for sure. Hands down, strength training is the best way. It's better than cardio in every way. The only thing cardio is better at than weightlifting would be to build your endurance. It's great
Right.
for endurance. You got to do cardio to build your endurance. But when it comes to weight loss, people don't really understand that weightlifting is the best long term solution.
Yeah.
Short term, yeah, you could go with cardio, but long term solution, weightlifting is going to be your best bet in any for any scenario.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want people to remember, because this is going to happen at some point during your journey, if you start lifting weights, okay, you're going to start shedding the pounds pretty quickly, like Murph just said. But what it's also going to do, it's going to deceive you on your scale, because what you're doing is you're replacing fat for muscle, and muscle weighs more
Hmm.
than fat, right? So I hit a point over the last week where I'm like, I'm doing the same amount of activity. I'm doing more weightlifting than I am doing cardio, and my scale's not moving down. And the only reason why it's not moving down is because I got more muscle on me. So I kind of like had to like figure out, and I was disappointed in myself for a minute. Like, did I just peak at this like weight loss, or am I replacing like good weight for bad weight? Is what I'm doing right now.
Hmm. And the best way to counteract that is I preach is take progress photos. So photos are your best like
Yeah,
way to see your
100%.
progress because like you said, the scale can lie to you sometimes. You may be losing weight or losing fat, but you're building muscle, so the scale's not really changing. So I like to preach take progress photos, even if you're not going to share them with nobody. You don't have to share them with nobody. Just take some, leave them in your phone. Don't show nobody, and keep them for yourself because this is the best way you can see like actual changes with your body, especially if you're weightlifting, and you're going to build some muscle. So I think that's a great thing for people to do.
Yeah,
It helps
and
motivate you too.
yeah, and look, the other thing is when you go on a weight loss journey, or you like go on a body change journey, there are other things that you might have to do. And I'm just gonna like put this out there because people don't really talk about this. You might have to change some of your friends and who
Hmm.
you hang out with,
Absolutely.
because if you're hanging out with people and they're like eating chips and they're eating ice cream and they don't really give a, they're eating fried foods and they don't really care, and they start asking you like, hey man, how come you're not coming to McDonald's with me, or whatever, I'm not eating my Popeyes fried chicken, bucket anymore. Like, you got to have the guts to be like, hey man, I'll come with you, but I'll just tell you, I'm not ordering from that side of the menu anymore. I'm ordering like the chicken wrap, and I'm gonna get a salad. And if you want to make fun of me, that's cool, bro. But that's not gonna hurt me anymore, okay? Because in 6 months from now, you're gonna see what I look like, and you're gonna look the same, okay? And if you want to get with my program, maybe why don't you join me on this journey? Because actually, I'd rather not do it alone. So to be honest with you, man, I've replaced. People say, you ever hear this phrase before? Like, you're the average of the top 5 people that you
Hmm.
talk to every day. Right? So like this figure right here. Okay, I've replaced 3 of the 4 people have been replaced, because I'm
Hmm.
going on a journey that doesn't include drinking, doesn't include going out after 9 o'clock at night, and it doesn't include any kind of negative shit that might mess up my 6 a.m. workout, or like get in the way of what I want to achieve or what I want to feel like. And then the other part I'll say, and then fire away any questions, or if we're good, is don't be so hard on yourself. Okay. Like, this is going to happen over time. All right. As long as you stick with a program and you have a program, it's gonna end in the right direction. So just keep going down that path. And every day is not like a mark to, you have to like say, what's my stock at today? Like, if you're a trader, you don't have to mark to market every week. You'll see progress, and people are going to start saying, hey man, what's, you look different, dude. Well, that's what happens. People are going to go like that. You'll be like, they're going to tilt their head. They'd be like, "Yo, Murph, you look different, man. What did you do? Did you get some? Did you get some like a nose job? Did you get like your cheekbones push up?" Like, no, dude, I've been working out, man. I actually give a shit about my machine. I fixed the machine, so that's
It's
what I leave
funny.
you with.
It's funny you brought up the saying about the 5 people you hang out with the most. I was actually gonna say that until you brought it up, but um, I just went blank on what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
uh,
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's like this isn't an easy thing to do, you know? Like, you got to give up a lot of things that these food companies. I was watching someone on LinkedIn the other day. You got to understand, all these snack food companies, they were bought by tobacco companies 30 years ago. And what they were trying to do is they're trying to addict you to something besides cigarettes. So when you pick a bag of potato chips, like they've been engineered, chemically engineered, so you eat the entire bag, no matter how big the
mhm.
bag is. It's been engineered that way. And then they say fat free. Well, it's great, dude, but there's a lot of sugar in there, right? So on everything that I get, every one of these like things I get, I look on the back, check out what the sugar is, okay? Every 4 grams of sugar is 1 cube, okay? So right here, this is like 2 cubes. I'm in a hotel right now. Okay, this little thing here is 2 cubes of sugar. This is 8 grams of sugar, right? I put that in your body, and then if you want to buy, if you ever listen to this podcast and you buy a Mountain Dew that's not a Diet Mountain Dew, I'm going to come hunt you down because that's the worst thing you can put in your body. 55 grams of sugar. It's like 12 of these things. No, 16.
Yeah, unfortunately, the food companies get away with deceiving people. They're not straight up lying. But they're also not telling the truth about all the ingredients, things that's in their food. But luckily, with social media nowadays, I think people are starting to become more and more aware of these things, and the word's starting to definitely get out, especially now with all the with the government trying to ban all the dyes and stuff. So I think we're going in the right direction when it comes to
Yeah,
that.
no, we're definitely going the right direction. Also, you can buy a lot of protein bars now that have 1 gram of sugar, and just
Hmm.
focus on the sugar content. If you turn something around and it has more than like 4 grams of sugar, just put it right back. Just trust me. That sugar is what's creating all the fat because you're not burning it off. Sugar is just energy. Fat is just
Hmm.
stored energy. So when you think about going to the gym, and talk about what Murphy said. Let's go to the gym, start burning calories, right? You're just basically taking all this energy that you have built up in your body and you're actually using it. That's what fat is, right? Fat's just energy waiting to be used. So use it and you lose it. And then once you nail the thing, you can scale this thing, as a buddy of mine likes to say. But I'm going to my nephew's graduation right now. He just graduated from high school, not Fortnite school, thank God. He's going to Syracuse next year, so we're all excited. So I appreciate you having me on the show and anything we do to help people out. But don't be intimidated about going to a health club. They want to meet you. They're cool. You're not on a journey by yourself. There's plenty of support staff, and just tell them everything that's going on in your head, and then we'll figure out a way to architect that into who you want to look like and how you're going to feel afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. If you want to let everybody know where they can find you at, um,
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a book. It's called Time to Win Again. If you want to put that up in the show notes, find it
okay.
on Amazon. How to run your business like a sports team. Get involved in sports if you can. Either it's a dodgeball league or if it's a kickball or softball, just get out there, and you'll be surprised how much weight you lose just by being around other people and being outdoors and enjoying a hike every once in a while. So, and then I got a podcast called Halo Talks. Halo TALKS. So that's on the business side. And
Hmm.
appreciate what you're doing and keep doing it. Even if there's a small amount of audience right now, like this thing's going to grow and you don't know where it's going, but you know that people are listening somewhere and it's going to affect one person's life. That's a domino, it's a halo effect. That's why I use the term halo.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Help one person out each episode. That's the goal.
That's it, man. That's all we need. All right,
All right.
brother. Good
Thank you. You
stuff.
have a
Go
great
halo.
day.
Appreciate
Have,
your time.
have a good one.
Bye.